Guys, welcome to the Wednesday Cardone University Mastermind. My name is Steve Spray, coming to you live from the 305 every single Wednesday. We're coming here, okay? You're coming here so the way we can talk about sales, growing your sales, okay? So whether you've got a sales team, you're a salesperson, or you're in business trying to grow that top line, we're trying to help you out here, and we're going to help you do that by using the Grant Cardone Sales University. So guys, really appreciate you showing up here every single Wednesday. You know, the reason we come together for this is because we've got a lot of clients doing a lot of great things on the Cardone University program. So, you know, Grant Cardone's got the greatest content in the world, but we want to make sure that you're able to use it so that way you're able to apply it out there in the real world. So, guys, if you want to call in right now, I'm going to take calls. So that number right at the top, that 305-865-8668, that's the number. We're going to dive into, four things that you got to have today. So you want to take notes if you're at home, because I want you to write these down. I want you guys to remember these. These are things that are inside the program, but I want to make sure that you are thinking with this as your training. So I got a question last week. Somebody said, hey man, will you tell everybody what you do to be successful with the program? And I was like, dude, yeah. That's a really good idea, man. So I wanted to make sure that you guys knew what I do to do well with this program. Okay, so if you guys want to call in, that number 305-865-8668. That is the number. We already got callers blowing it up. One thing, a housekeeping thing. Okay, if you have any interest whatsoever in creating wealth, and I think you do. If you're on this show, you definitely do. Grant is going to be doing an event this Saturday. It's going to be grantcardone.com/money. And he's going to do a big event. You know how he does the webinars, man. This is where you get the crazy fire. Grant brings it out. He always brings it for these events. And this weekend, he's going to be talking about money. He's going to be talking about your finances. And he's going to be talking about creating wealth. So I can just tell you from personal experience, for me, I wasn't never taught this stuff when I was in school. Yeah, this is not things that you'll learn in school, in college. So if you ever felt like, man, all the successful people, dude, they just got data that I don't have, dude, the answer is, yeah, they kind of do, man. They've done some things. They've found out, like, dude, how to actually build and grow wealth, or actually like build your money, and how to duplicate it and how to multiply it. And so show up to that event. It's grantcardone.com/money. And we can't wait to see you there. So this week, guys, the 4 things to be efficient with your sales training. I got this from a guy who is a very, very smart guy. He's one of the creators of training. So he talked about, I was on a call with him yesterday, and he said, dude, hey, 4 things you need. So number 1, I want you guys to write this down. Number 1, good content. Okay, good content. Okay, Johnny, I want you to go to the full curriculum. Go to the full curriculum. And when I say good content, okay, I want you to ask yourself, hey, what am I looking at every single day? What am I looking at every single day? So for me, when I got asked the question, hey, what do you do to be successful training on the program? I do 6 training segments minimum every single day. Okay, if you're going to do 3 every day, do 3 every day. Okay, don't do 3 and then 6, then 3. Dude, if you're going to do 6 every day, if you're going to do 10 every day, dude, do 10 every day. You want to be consistent with it. But the content has to be good. We know the content's good because it's Grant's content. You believe it's good. You bought it. But is it the right content that you should be looking at today? So I got a lot of people who, you know, maybe they train on closing strategies, and that's where great content, but usually like when I go in, I'm like, hey, what's some of the problems you're having? They're like, man, closing deals. I'm like, okay, well, show me your deals. They got 2 or 3 deals they're working. I'm like, dude, closing deals is not your biggest problem right now. Okay, your biggest problem is that you don't have enough deals to work. So when I say good content, I'm talking about, man, is the content relevant to what you have attention on right now? You know, of course you want to close deals and you want to get good at that, but dude, let's be honest, if you don't have the deals to close, you need to be inside prospecting. You need to be inside master the cold call. You need to be inside follow-up. You need to be figuring out, hey, how do I get some more attention to get deals available to close, right? So make sure that the content is good. Okay, that's one of the number one things. I'm only focused. I went through the program from start to finish. I did that, and I've actually done it a couple times. That's what the certification's for. Okay, but I also am always paying attention to like, hey, where am I at in this business cycle, man? Am I filling up the pipeline? Am I closing out the pipeline? Am I trying to massage the people that are in the pipeline? I mean, where are you at right now? So make sure that the content is good to what you're doing every single day. Okay, so I'm going to take a call, and then I'm going to dive into the next three. Ron in New Jersey, how you doing?
Hey, doing well, Steve. How are you?
Dude, I'm incredible, man. I appreciate you asking, and I really appreciate you giving me a call up today, man. What problem could I solve for you?
Well, I mean, you know, I took the cold call course, so I have the cold call course, and I'm in the process of, you know, trying to get a script that I think will be effective for me. And so, you know, I'd like to go over the script that I have with you to see if you think it'll be helpful, you know, for me.
Yeah, hey, heck yeah, man. I would love that. Let me see what you got.
Okay, great.
Let's work it out. Let's see what. Let's see how we can 10x this.
All right, good. So let me get started. Yeah. So hey, Steve, how you doing? This is Ron Hunter.
Hey, Ron.
I taught the Social Security class that you took at the Adult Education School. You remember me?
Yeah.
Great, great. Listen, hope all is well. The reason I'm calling is I sent you some emails with video links that shows you how to earn tens or possibly more, you know, more than 100,000 in additional Social Security payments. Now, I've used this successfully with dozens of couples who are near retirement, just like you. So it's still surprising to me that so many advisors don't show this to their clients. I'm just curious, has your advisor ever mentioned Social Security savings to you?
I don't have an advisor.
Oh, okay. Well, look, just to be sure I'm not wasting your time, would you be interested in seeing if you qualify to earn, you know, tens of thousands or even more than that in Social Security payments?
Yeah. All right, good. So this is great. So here's what I want to do. So you've got the structure of the call down. You did all the training. You went in there. Now here's where I want to start tightening up a little bit. So what I would do if I were you, what you want to think about is this. I'm trying to sell the guy on getting time. That's what I'm doing in the cold call. Time for him. In that time, this could be a one-call close. I'm really selling him on, hey, would you give me the time to talk to you about the product? I want to close him on the time first, right? So you kind of did the right thing by talking about the product up front. But you need to pull him into your conversation, which means that, dude, you've got to be interesting to him so that way he can listen and actually duplicate what you're saying. That way he's like, oh, okay, yeah, well, no, I get this. But and then you've got to switch it up, man, where like you're actually interesting enough yourself for him to like kind of fall back into your communication and say, hey, Ron, yeah, no, tell me more about that. Or yeah, no, I don't know about that. What do you mean by it? You know, or I need to like pull him back in. So I got to do that with the question, right?
Right.
So what I want to do is I want to get a question in there tight so I can start to get that communication cycle moving, you know, and that's where, dude, you want to call up. You maybe want to drop a little bit of a line there. Grant talked about it in the Master of the Cold Call, but then I want to pull the guy. I want to tell the guy what I'm calling about. Hey, listen, I'm calling you about this. Okay, you did all right with that good part at the beginning where kind of, you know, hey, I seen you at the one thing. You remember me, right? Ah, excellent, man. Hey, good to see you. Listen, the reason for my call, you always want to drop that in there. The reason for my call, and I think you did have that part in there. So,
yeah, I said the reason I'm calling is, you know, I sent everybody who attended the class, I got their email, so I sent them videos and that sort of thing. So it's not like they don't know. I mean, I may have to remind them who I am, but, you know, they should remember.
Totally. You're right. So then what I would do, so like you had that whole long piece right there, I would tighten it up. And I would drop a question there to bring them back in a little bit, you know. So like you had that big long pitch right there. It sounded like you were going, like you've got the model set up. Like now you just need to like fine tune like all the spots where you're gonna bring him back in and get him to be like, oh, okay, cool, man. I would take a look at this, you know. Or, you know. So let's what you want to do is maybe pull them back in with a question of like, have you ever looked at something like this before? Hey, we're doing, we're doing blah, 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 and we got XYZ results for you. And are you currently doing this? No, you're not? Okay, good.
Okay.
So what we're doing is we're doing it right now. That's why you showed up to the event. We want to get you all the data and the information, but to be sure I'm not wasting your time. And so you did that. And then I want to pull them back in again. So that way I can get a communication cycle going with them.
Okay, yeah. So I do ask them the question, have they ever seen this before? Has their advisor ever mentioned it? So I'll just put that up earlier, maybe after the reason I'm calling, and tell them,
Yeah, exactly. Just tighten up that first part, man. Like you sounded great. Just tighten it up. And then,
right.
and thanks for the call. So just with that, guys, I'm going to get the second part, the number 2 thing. So if you're taking notes down, number 1 was, dude, you got to make sure the content's good. Number 2, repetition. Okay, so repetition means, dude, you got to practice this stuff every single day, right? You got to watch it. So like he watched all the training. Now he's going to go back and actually apply it. So he's going to use this script that he built out. Now he knows what's going on and it's working. Okay, but that doesn't mean that like, he's done with the game. LeBron James practices every single day. The guy's been picking up a basketball every day, picking it up, right? So you want to do the repetition. So when he goes back into the training again, now he can actually have some data about like what he pulled from these calls. And he can be like, oh, no, now I see what Grant was talking about right there. So probably the second time you go through the material, you may pick up things that you didn't even see the first time. Grant made a really good point at our last sales boot camp. He said, the first time you see content, you really usually only hear the things that you agree with. Okay, so if you're taking notes, Grant dropped that. He said, listen, the first time you hear content, you usually only remember the things that you agree with. So if you've got a bunch of new data for you, like if you've ever read a book and then you read it again, you're like, dude, that was almost like, did they put new chapters in there? What happened? Or like you listen to something and you're like, man, I didn't even catch that the first time. So I want you to think about that. So number 1 is good content. Number 2 is repetition. And then for my guy right there on the cold call, okay, he has got to do the practice and the role play. So got it. So he's got everything down pat right now. Like he's got everything structured. Now it's time to get good at it. You got to practice the play. So for me, guys, what I do is when I do the repetition part, like we train my guys every single morning. We've got specific segments that we watch and then we talk about when we get to the office. So we'll debrief. We call it a boot camp. What we also do is we practice and role play directly after that. If you can't find somebody to practice and role play with, do what I did when I didn't have anybody to practice and role play with. Record yourself. Or maybe sit up against a wall. Like I just sit up against the wall and I would actually like role play, or I would just like, I would fire the things off like in my car. Like I do this on the way to work. I'm like pitching things that I'm like, dude, I know I'm going to drop this line today. I'm going back and forth. I'm saying it over and over again. Man, I'm LeBron picking up the ball every single day. Okay. Next caller. Brian in Orlando, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on? Is this Steve?
Yes, sir. Hey, are you going to our? Did you sign up for our money event this weekend?
Yeah. I called you in last week, man, with the event.
My man, calling in every week, dude. I appreciate the commitment that you have. How can I help you out this week?
Absolutely, brother. Listen here. I got my team here. We're all sitting down. We're about to create some massive Series 10X sales strategy, and we want your expert opinion on some questions. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So we're creating that. We have 800. Technically it's 2 of us for 800 leads, right? We got 800 leads. 2 of us. Pipeline is pretty full. So we're thinking of a outreach method. And my idea is, here's the questions that I want to know. So we have different methods of reaching out. We have postcards, handwritten letters, videos, emails, phone calls, in person, commit. And we want to know which order should we do it in. And between 2 of us for 800 leads, which method should we prioritize in terms of time? Because I don't want to,
totally.
It might be better to send.
Great question. So I'm going to answer this in a 2-part. I'm going to have Johnny click on our follow-up program. Okay, so whether this is a cold call, like guys, when you make the first cold call, then you're in the follow-up. So like the follow-up, it happens all over the place. It happens after the sale. It happens after the cold call. But Johnny, I want you to click into, you guys should definitely train on all the mistakes on the follow-up, but just go into how to use follow-up tools. So how to use follow-up tools. And so you talked about postcards, you talked about videos, you talked about emails. So you want to go in and you want to train on these videos just to find out first, hey, what is going to be the things that I need to say on the postcard? What are the things I need to say on the video? What are the things I need to say in the email? And so this is going to be the first place that you want to start. This is kind of like the, hey, how to use these things. And so it's kind of going to walk you through. So, you know, dude, you want to train on these, but then what you want to do is you actually want to pull up the actual follow-up tool, or, Johnny, if you just press back and you go to the contact follow-up for over 365 days, it'll lay out the order, the format that you should do all these. So, you know,
you think I should watch this with my team?
I 1000% watch it with your team. I mean, this is something that I've went over with my team several times. So just so you know, for the people that are over here swimming in the Kool-Aid, injecting the Kool-Aid into us, dude, we would never be good if we didn't keep repeating this over and over and over again. You know, so like go back through and just keep thinking with these guys. So that way you see, hey guys, on day one, we're going to send a, hey, thank you for the opportunity. I'm going to sit, like, even if I didn't talk to the guy, I called the guy on a cold call. Like, you guys want to use these topics, you know? So Grant says, hey, send him a thank you. Even though it was on a cold call, I'm going to send the guy back. I'm going to call him back and say, hey, man, thanks for taking my call. I know we didn't get the opportunity to speak. Let me send you over some information. That way, the next time I give you a call back, you'll know exactly what I'm reaching out to you for. Okay? And then, you know, maybe I call him back on day one. Day one says, hey, call him back offering an alternative. Tell him to jump in front of a computer. Tell him to get on a website. Tell him to go into a screen share. I'm going to offer a whole other idea. Like, we do this. This is what I do. I'll call a guy up. Hey, man, I got Grant Cardone's #1 sales training program. Hey, we already do training. Click. Excellent, man. I'll call the guy back the next day. Hey, I got Grant Cardone's #1 close the sale program. Dude, we're great at closing deals. Got to go. Click. I call him back up the next day. Listen, we got Grant's 365-day follow-up. You guys got follow-up strategies? Dude, we got everything on follow-up, man. How soon can you get in front of a computer? I'm in front of one right now. Dude, here I am. I got him up on the deal, you know? So, like, just use the different things, offer the alternative, and don't take the exact strategy, like, too specific. That way you're like, well, man, I can't say thank you. The guy didn't even give me time. No, dude, do say thank you. Say hey, thank you for being a business owner, man. It's awesome that you have built what you have, man. I just want to send you something and let you know what I'm reaching out about. Like, use those things. Okay, so use the follow-up, man. Dig in there and call me back next week so I can find out how it went.
Will do, brother.
Thanks, man. All right, guys, last thing right here. So the 4 things, I want you to write these down. Number 1, you got to have good content. Okay. Number 2, you got to have repetition. When I train with my guys every morning, we do the sales boot camps. I watch the same videos 2 times in a row every single morning before I train my guys. Okay, how do you think I figured this stuff out? Watching it one time? I mean, I just watching it over and over again, you know? So watch it over until it's like just totally plugged into you. Okay, you got to practice and role play. If you're with your team, you got to practice and role play with them. If you're by yourself, you got to practice and role play with yourself. You know, record yourself. You know, we're practicing role play with a guy, and if you're going to role play with somebody, man, flunk them. Be honest with them. Dude, come on, man, that was terrible. Start over, you know? And then the final thing, you got to hold accountability. If you're a manager, if you got a sales team, you got to make sure your people are doing your training every single day. You got to go back and look at, like, hey, what did I do last month? So one thing that I want Johnny to do, and we're gonna wrap this up today, guys. I want Johnny, if you click at the home space, that way we can go back to the main menu. Guys, if you go into my usage report down at the bottom right there, okay, we're going to go into my usage report. You can filter this report. So if you want to go to filter report up there at the top right there, Johnny. Guys, I want you to go back right now, and I want you to look over the past 30 days. So just change the date range, go back. That way you can hold yourself accountable, and that way you can go back and look at, hey, how did April do? How did I do last month sales-wise, man? It's you know how you did. And then actually go back, and then you can go back and look at, hey, what was my training like? You know, so that way you can see, hey, how consistent was I? How inconsistent was I? Because you really don't know until you just start to hold yourself accountable. That's why we make the reports available. So guys, good content, repetition, practice and role play, and accountability, man. So listen, the guy who put this whole deal together, he taught me that. So listen, if I can ever do anything to help you guys out, let us know. Be here this Saturday at grantcardone.com/money. Grant's going to be dropping all the bombs on how to get to where he's at financially. Okay, he's going to talk to you about how to start if you're just getting started, if you're in the middle class, upper class, no matter what class you're in or however you want to categorize it, he's going to teach you how to get wealthy. So we want you to be there. It's grantcardone.com/money. And guys, we'll see you back here next week on the Cardone University Mastermind.